Hello everybody, I'm Artillery J. Thank you all so much for 100 subscribers. And welcome to, well, my life. Way back in the late 1970s, my mom and dad accidentally did the thing that makes babies happen. So on April 26, 1980, after about 18 hours of labor, which she reminds me of at least once a year, Artillery Mom gave birth to Artillery J in Ravenna, Ohio. I imagine it was pretty awesome. 1 year, 1 month, and 3 days later, Artillery Sis was born. Also pretty awesome. Well, I imagine anyway. We lived in Stow, Ohio, in a very small house that had basically every problem that you could imagine. We lived there until I was about 7 or so, maybe 8. I was in the 2nd grade. I remember that. Well, then my parents decided that they had to upgrade to a bigger place. It couldn't be avoided. They had 2 kids now, and there just wasn't enough space. The house was super small that we lived in. So we moved into a larger house. This one was a rental in Akron, Ohio. Not the nicest of neighborhoods, to say the least. It turned out to be the perfect timing, though, because shortly after we left the house in Stow, it burnt to the ground due to faulty wiring. So, kind of dodged a bullet on that one, I guess. I didn't have any friends, though, except for the neighbor girl, Carrie. She was more of my sister's friend, though. And the new school was a lot different than the one I left. Then, to top things off, because of the difference between what I was learning before in Stow and what this school was teaching, I was held back in order to adjust. I spent a lot of time getting paddled in the vice principal's office or in some other form of trouble. I was pretty angry and confused, and this went on until the 4th grade when 2 things happened. First, I made my first real friend, JR. We both loved playing on the NES and spent hundreds of hours trading controllers back and forth over the years. Secondly, I got a violent breakout of chickenpox that almost killed me. There are 3 types of chickenpox if you didn't know. There's the small bumps, which aren't too bad. There's a large rash that's not great, but it's manageable. And then there's the large pus-filled boils, and those are pretty much the worst thing ever. Well, I had all 3. It was completely terrible. I was itchy all over, and I couldn't hold down any food or water. Well, I ended up in the hospital for several months because of it. Probably mostly due to dehydration, though I couldn't be sure because I was pretty young then. But while I was there, they noticed what I guess today would be classified as depression, and had me talk with some people, take an IQ test, and spoke to my parents. The bottom line, I was bored with my schoolwork and I needed to move up a grade, or at least that's what they said. So I went into the 5th grade, and all was well with the world, or so I thought. We moved again, after the end of the school year, to Copley, Ohio. My only friend was over half an hour drive away. I spent several nights just crying into my pillow and was angrier than ever. My great-grandfather died suddenly, and that really struck a blow. We were pretty close and spent a lot of time together. It was not a real easy time for me. He died suddenly from a massive heart attack, and it was very unexpected, and yeah, I was really messed up. But eventually I got over it. I started spending more time with my other grandparents. I developed a really good relationship with my other grandparents, and me and my grandmother are really close. She actually lives next door to me right now, and I spent a lot of time with her. JR spent a lot of time at our house, and I spent a lot of time at his. I met the kid up the street named Jason, who loved video games too. We played a lot together on the NES, and then he got a Super Nintendo, and we played a lot on that. And he introduced me to another love of my life, comic books. I read a lot of Marvel comics, and watched the X-Men cartoon, and pretty much everything comic book related. And I still collect comic books to this day, because of that guy. Eventually I made a few more friends at my new school, and I'm still friends with some of them to this day. In fact, one of those friends, Ray, comes over every Wednesday for dinner. I got my first girlfriend, we'll call her Melina. We dated off and on from the 6th grade until around the 9th grade. I had my first really serious relationship with a girl in the 10th grade, though. I'd say my first real love, but alas, it was not meant to be. When we broke up, I was pretty devastated and suicidal. I felt like everyone who I cared about left me. Then one night I was hanging out with my sister and some of her friends, and one of those friends just walked up, grabbed my face, and started kissing me. We'll call her Dixie. Or we can just call her Mrs. Artillery, because eventually, in September of 1998, we got married. We had 2 daughters, and then I joined the U.S. Army in September of 2001 as an artilleryman. Well, that's where the name comes from, actually. I'll try to sum up this next part as best as I can, and as quickly as I can, because it is about 12 years of my life. I deployed to Iraq in 2003. My youngest was born in 2004. Then I deployed to Iraq again in 2005 and a final time in 2006. I deployed to Afghanistan in 2008 and again in 2010. And then I left the Army in December of 2012. I joined the Ohio National Guard for a year. That ended my military career in 2013 after 12 years and 5 combat deployments. I was rated as 90% service-connected disabled, which is to say I'm pretty messed up but still functional. I enrolled in school at the University of Akron for a degree in communications, but I dropped out after a few semesters. My depression was back full tilt. I don't think I left my house much for probably around 4 months or so. Eventually, I ended up going to work at a couple of different places. Nothing that I really cared about, though. And the last of those jobs was as a security guard. Well, the guy that I relieved in the morning, the guy that worked the graveyard shift, Eric, introduced me to a YouTuber, and specifically a YouTube video. The YouTuber was Markiplier, and he was playing Five Nights at Freddy's, which, if you don't know, is about a security guard that tries to survive the night being attacked by animatronics. So it was pretty fitting for the job that we had, and it's something that he thought about a lot, working 3rd shift by himself in the dark, at night, in the dark. So Markiplier became my very first YouTube experience, and then I started school at a smaller community college in the summer of 2015 for video game design. I later added a degree in mobile app design and certifications for web design and Java programming. About the time I went back to school, I decided to try this YouTube thing. Really, I just needed a way to express myself and to fight my depression, and it turned out that I really enjoyed it. As it stands, I should be graduating next semester with 2 associate's degrees and 2 career development certifications, all in the field of computer science. Additionally, I have now got 100 subscribers on YouTube. And I've made a lot of friends here. It's a great way to meet people. I've made friends through different games that I play, most of which are Minecraft, to be honest. And I wouldn't change a thing. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy the people. Being able to do something like YouTube has really helped me come a long way with battling my depression and with being able to communicate with other people without feeling so anxietal and nervous. It's not that I get scared talking to people or that I'm shy or anything. It's more that I get anxietal when I'm specifically in large groups of people. And YouTube's helped me a lot with that. Even though I can't physically see you guys, I know that you're there. I know that you're watching, and I know that you've come to expect a certain quality and a certain way that I make my videos. And I thank you guys so much. I thank you for being there. I thank you for clicking on that subscribe button and letting me know that the content that I make and what I do is good enough that you actually want to watch it. So thank you so much. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.